Why don't we start with this whole concept of an appeal? I've heard many legal experts say that the judge was very careful. John, why don't you give me your opinion? Do you think that an appeal is possible, a successful appeal?
Well, you know, I think the appeal is going to go through, and one of the big issues I think the defense attorneys are going to be dealing with is the amount of evidence that came in about Martha Stewart, which was unrelated to the actual sale of the stock. I mean, we heard a lot of evidence about about Martha and about how nasty she was and some of the phone calls that she made. And I think what the jurors said yesterday bears that out. I mean, they were talking about, I believe, an arrogant Martha Stewart. And I think this case should not have been about Martha Stewart, but about what she is alleged to have done. And I think that may be one of the bases for the appeal. Do I think it'll be a successful one? I don't know. Based on what I've heard and read so far, I think they'll have a difficult road to hoe.
Now, let's talk about possible prison time for her. Obviously, there are sentencing guidelines involved. What's your best guess?
Well, she can receive up to 5 years and up to $1 million in fines because each count carries a maximum $250 fine. Whether or not she'll do prison sentence is the talk of the streets right now.
Right.
But let me say, you know, this jury convicted a Martha Stewart that may have felt like she was above the law, or some people felt like she was above the law. I believe that she will receive some jail time. I don't think it'll be 5 years, but I think that because there are so many counts, and they are important. I mean, this particular criminal act is a serious criminal act. Yes, I think she'll receive jail time.
No, I think ironically what happened by her not testifying, which may have put her whole case in jeopardy in terms of sentencing, may actually help her, because if the jury rejected what she said, the judge could have taken that into consideration as her lying on the stand and not taking responsibility, and it could have made it worse for her in terms of sentencing.
Well, let's talk about this. I mean, nobody has heard from Martha yet.
I think that's important.
In the courtroom. So is there something that she can do in a statement or something that might help ease the pain of this prison time?
Oh, sure. She can certainly testify in the sentencing phase. There's no question about it. Whether or not they'll have her testify is another thing. You know, every court observer says that Martha was calm, cool, and collected all during the trial. She probably would have made a good witness. She's trained to talk to millions of people at a time through a television camera. She probably could have been a model witness, but remember, Martha had to get on that stand and tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And in my opinion, that's what she could not do because she would have helped convict herself.
That's true. She would have been in the catch-22 because in order for her to have won this case, she would have had to, according to what the jury's verdict would have been to have lied. Now, if she comes out and acts contrite and apologetic for what she did, that will help her in sentencing. It would not have helped her in her trial and won't help her in her appeal.
And so far, she's not doing that.
And lots of review, obviously, over the short amount of time that the defense spent. Only one witness brought to the table.
In retrospect, they certainly could have brought more people up. Of course, I hate to second-guess any defense lawyer because once a guilty verdict's in, obviously hindsight becomes perfect. I'm sure today they wish they had brought more people onto the stand. They probably wish they had let Martha testify. But I think they felt like they had a good defense.
All right, you know what, guys?
I'm going
to switch gears on you. I'm sorry, because we need to talk about Scott Peterson. And obviously, jury, a big issue. What do you think? I mean, is there any hope for an objective jury in this case?
Oh, absolutely. That's why the case was moved in the first place. There's almost 500,000 people that are potential jurors in this case. Sure, there's hope for an unbiased jury. That's what we get every day in every courtroom that across America, we have to choose among people who may have heard something about the case.
Well, no, what really happens, I think, is that the prosecutors want a certain type of juror, and the defense attorneys want a certain type of juror. I mean, and they're going to bring their biases to the table, and each side will want the biases that'll help their side.
Well, John, what type of jurors does the defense want?
Well, I think the defense really wants an independent juror, somebody who's not going to buy into everything that they're sold. They'll want a juror. I think they'll want a juror who doesn't read necessarily, you know, People magazine every week, who doesn't watch soap operas, who doesn't buy into the whole drama of the case, and will look at the evidence to see if the prosecution will be able to prove their case and not rely on the entire situation about the
Kelly, the defense wants one thing. They want people who can get past the fact that Scott is a lying, cheating scoundrel of a husband.
That's true.
And once they get to that point, then they can possibly convince him that he's innocent.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%, and I think they can do it, and I think it depends on the types of jurors that they get.
It absolutely does. I will agree with that, but the defense has a tough time in this
Well, let me
particular
ask you this.
situation.
You know, when the jury pool was brought in, there was the first time that they could see Scott Peterson up close and personal. I'm told he smiled, said hello. This could very well be the only time that jury hears from him.
It could be.
Does that really matter? I mean, how he conducts himself in that little short
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And the reason is because those jurors are human, just like you and I, and they're going to form an opinion about his air, his acts, his talk, his way of carrying himself, the way he appears to them. They're going to form an opinion about him, and it's going to color whatever they hear in that trial. So yeah, it does
and I'm
matter.
sure
Okay,
people
you know
are
what,
going
guys?
to be swayed
I'm
by
sorry.
both.
We will be watching this for a long time, but
We
I'm out
will.
of time, and I want to thank you both for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Take care.
Bye.
Windy weather tears across the Midwest. Will it die down today? Rob Marciano is here with the forecast.
Plus, what you're saying this morning about yesterday's Martha Stewart verdict.
But first, picture this, the look of joy on the face of this 12-year-old Iraqi girl as she gives a warm hug to her new best friend, Taylor. Marwa Atami's home north of Baghdad.